Hello and welcome back. My name is Franziska Weiß. In this session, we were building on what you saw in the first session led by my colleague Remon Gebel, and we're going deeper in occupancy analysis. If you missed the session, you can rewatch it. It should be in your mailbox, or feel free to reach out to us directly. The last session was about getting started with space occupancy. So our first sheet of the new space occupancy dashboards. After getting started on the summary page with already a lot of insights, it is of course possible to dive deeper in specific fields. Using again the same example, I show today how occupancy can be broken down by building and floor, so focusing on those two sheets. I'll also introduce a new metric headcount and a new heat map that makes usage patterns visible at a glance. As you watch, think about how this could look applied to your own buildings and floors. And in case of any questions, feel free to use the chat and we will come back to you after the session or contact us via the communication channels I name at the end of the session. We start again with the occupancy metrics. I want to shortly repeat the utilization time. The utilization time is how much an individual space is used during the day, named in hours. And the new metric headcount is now very important for our session today. This is about how many persons are present. In case you measure it with the headcount sensor, it's no estimation and the concrete number of persons is coming directly from the sensor. But with presence sensors, we use usually for workplaces, which only can send a 1 or a 0, so presence or no presence. It's an estimation of how many persons are present. Like, for example, for a concrete space for 1 hour. So if there is a presence the whole hour for this space, the headcount would be 1. If it's only a presence of half an hour, the headcount in this case would be 0.5. And then, of course, we are building averages of those hourly values when we talk about a single space, for example, for a day. And we, of course, also can summing them up to consider multiple spaces at the same time. But again, this is only an estimated headcount as the sensors are unequal of each other. Now I want to switch directly to the dashboard. Here we are. I selected already again the same date range as last session, so June 2026. In the last session, we focused on the summary sheet, which you can see at the moment. At the first glance, it became already visible that there are differences between the buildings, especially the building Barcelona had the highest average occupancy, which you can see on the right side here. And I will now start with this building. We'll select it and we'll jump directly in the sheet building analysis. As you can see here, there are many more sheets, so it still only scratches the surface what we can show you here today. So for the building analysis, I want to focus here at the moment on our diagram here on the right side, headcount versus workspace capacity. The blue line is our workspace capacity in total for this building in Barcelona, 22 places. The green line is the average headcount and the orange line is the peak headcount. And as you can see here in June 2026, the peak headcount reached from time to time its capacity of the whole building. And in session 4, we will come back to this and model future simulations, like, for example, is it even possible to add more people to this space? And you can see that the average headcount is a little bit lower, so that there seem to be some capacities left. We want to now go a level deeper. So I will switch the sheet to our floor analysis. As we only have one floor for Barcelona, I can only select this one. And now you can see here a heat map. The heat map has a color coding, you can see. It's green, yellow, or red. It's depending which metric you have chosen for the floor plan. Because this is great, we can now switch between different metrics. So by default, we have the metric average daily utilization time. So the time a place is occupied. But we can, of course, switch also to the already known things, the average daily utilization time in percent. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to talk about concrete hour values than about percentages. That's why I will choose now the hourly value. So something will be red if it's below value of 2.5 utilization hours. Something is orange from 2.5 until 5, and something is green with the utilization time above 5 hours per day. Those values can be adjusted if you want. By default, those are the targets, but on the last sheet, it is now possible to change it to your own values, your own needs. As we can see here already, it seems that there are some places which are less used than others, that are the red ones. Now there would be, of course, the question why. Maybe they are less equipped than others, or maybe in this case because people will walk behind you, behind your back. So we can see that there are workplaces which are less occupied. But what is important here in the heat map, we only see the average, or you can also call it the mean. But the issue of the average or mean is that it's sensitive to outliers. For example, a single extremely high or low value can pull it significantly in that direction. That's why it's always important to also look at the median, because the median value is robust against outliers. So that's why I want to talk also about the graphic on the bottom, about the box plots, or you can also call them whisker plot. A box plot is a graphical way of summarizing the distribution of your numerical data set. The box contains the middle 50% of the data. The line inside the box, here, the white line, is the median, splitting the data into equal halves, so the exact middle of our data set. The whiskers extend from the box to the minimum here and the maximum value. Each of them has the other 25% of the data. Points are outliers. If you have any questions about this, feel free to just use the chat and I can come back to you afterwards. What we can see here, I want to make it a little bit bigger now. We can see very wide box plots. So for example, this one is going from 2.5 hour daily utilization time until above 10. So you can see in some cases those workplaces are well occupied, but there are also some cases and days where they are occupied only with 2.5 hours per day. But those, for example, on the beginning have a very high median. So 50% of the time in June, they were occupied more than 8 hours a day, which is a lot. But what I also can do, for example, I can select only the red dots. So those two, and then we can also take a look on those box plots, because at a first glance you maybe thought, okay, it's red, it's not used. But that's not the truth, because we can see, yes, the median is quite low compared with the others. It's nearby 1.5 hours, but as you can also see here, there are also maximum values of more than 7 hours per day. So they are used, but not every day. Okay, then I want to switch to another building. Let me change my filters. I will change now to Arnhem, because this floor is a little bit bigger here. And here we can see also workplaces, but also some meeting and concentration spaces. At a first glance, again, you can see different colors. And we can already see that the most occupied area in June, here it was this area with the green ones. We have also a lot of red dots at workplaces. Maybe you can see them over here. This is, for example, a silent area. What I want to do now, I want to show you some more things you can do with those box plots, because if I now will only select workplaces and rooms with a median of 0, so 50% of the time in June they were not occupied, I can select them, and then directly they are visible in my heat map. So those are the ones. And what we can see here, for example, we have here the silent areas, and here nearly every workplace has a median of 0. So this is maybe a space where we can think about redesigning. Of course, to think about this, it would now maybe be also necessary to do a longer analysis of those areas, for example, choosing a whole year, and then also make a deep dive into our trend lines, which day, which time they are used or not. But it is a starting point. You can start here. And a last thing I want to show you here are the meeting rooms on the bottom, because here again they are red. Maybe you thought again, okay, they are not occupied. But again, if I select them and show you the box plots, yes, they have a low median. But again, there are cases from time to time where they are used often. For example, here we have outliers with 6 hours, or here also the minimum with the maximum with 6 hours. And here, for example, this place, this is not used very often compared to the others. This is this one. So the last one, maybe it's because there are enough alternatives, and maybe because it's at the end of the floor. But here, yes, here could be again, we can think about maybe redesigning it and make a deep dive more in this concrete room. And of course, what I always can do, I can switch back to my summary sheet, for example, and see now on which days or to which hours such a place is used. For example, do my employees use my meeting rooms more often before lunch or after lunch, and things like that. So we can combine everything. But this should be the building analysis and floor analysis in a nutshell for today. I will now jump back to my presentation. You've now seen through one example how breaking data down by building and floor combined with the new metric headcount and the new heat map can uncover patterns that aren't obvious at the first glance. What I've showed today and in the last session still only scratches the surface of what's possible in those two dashboards. If you're already a customer, a training lets us go deeper in the possibilities of the dashboard, apply this directly to your data, and answer your open questions. If you are interested, please contact your customer success manager. If you're not yet a customer, we'd be happy to show you how this could work for you and for your space. You can reach out to us via marketing@spacewell.com. Be excited for the next session. Again, with my colleague Remon Gebel, we shift to a brand new dashboard, Space Efficiency, and take a look how to turn real headcount sensor data into insights. Thank you for joining.